Good afternoon, Bernie. It's Tim Handren, your mayor. Today is Saturday, the 21st of March. It's hard to believe where we've come in the last week, and I've had a lot of questions have come up since our new rules and regulations regarding the current state of emergency have gone into effect as of midnight last night. And so what I wanted to do is just take a couple of minutes and provide some clarifications. First thing I'm going to tell you is, as we're building this out, there's not a playbook for the situation that we're in that was handed to me when I got in this role. Things move by the hour, things move by the day. Trying to do what's best for this community to prevent the spread of this COVID-19 virus in our community. And I'm going to make some mistakes along the way, I know that. And I'm going to try to fix them when they're mistakes as quickly as I can. I appreciate the constructive feedback I've received, and I'll continue to respond to that. I've tried to reply to every email, every text message, every phone call. I can tell you I've been on the phone for 4 hours this morning dealing with questions and talking to HEB, Walmart, and others in our community. So let me get into some of the questions that have come up since our announcement yesterday. The first one is, why didn't I go further in restrictions? So that's the first question I'll answer. And the answer to that is simply this. I've been working with our Kendall County Medical Director, Health Director. His name is Dr. Ken Stiskel. And in conversations with him, he does not see a reason to go today into a shelter-in-place directive. I've also been talking to Mayor Ron Nirenberg in San Antonio, and he doesn't see a reason for that to happen there yet. San Antonio is going to be watching the velocity of spread. San Antonio is presently in community spread of the virus. The two cases we've had in Bernie are travel-related. So we don't have community spread yet. So the reason I didn't go further in the restrictions, by the way, I did go further than the governor with what we put in place, and we did put in place enforcement. But we didn't go further because there's not a compelling reason to do that today. Right behind that question, I got the question, why did you go so far? So did I go too far? Did I not go far enough? Frankly, I tried to do what I thought was right, went a little further than the governor because I wanted there to be an enforcement provision. And I really do want to ensure that we're all abiding by the social distancing standard that CDC has set up. It's all about not spreading this disease from a community standpoint. And we are ahead of the curve right now. The folks on the West Coast waited a little too long to go to the extent that we are. In my discussion with Ron Nirenberg yesterday, I think he agreed that I may have the most extensive restrictions in Texas right now, but I want to have the best county and I want to protect us. That's why I did this. Next question I got was, how does social distancing apply to my husband, my wife, and my family? And on a funny note, I've had a couple of men say thank you because they enjoy the social distancing with their spouse, but the real answer to that is, if you cohabitate together and you're together all the time anyway, if you are a carrier of the COVID-19 virus, you've already passed it to each other. And so holding hands with your spouse, your loved ones, that's not a problem. It's the people that you don't know where they've been, you don't know if they've traveled abroad, you don't know who they've been exposed to. Those are the ones that we're really trying to distance ourselves from. It's those that we're unfamiliar with and that we don't live with. That's where this applies. I got asked this question a couple times yesterday, can my business stay open? Now this is an interesting one because I want people to exercise extreme caution. That's why we are in the state we are in. If you look at the states of New York, Illinois, California, Washington, where they have gone into shelter in place, that's because they got behind the curve. For you as a business owner, I think you need to answer the couple of questions for yourself. Can you guarantee that you're not carrying this virus right now? Remember, most people are asymptomatic and most people have mild symptoms. You might be confusing this for allergies right now. And if you can't guarantee that you're not a carrier, why would you want to put anyone at risk? And if you want people coming into your business, and I realize this is a hard discussion, but what about the people coming in your business? Where are they coming from? If they came from the state of California, would you want them in your store? And how do you know they're not infected? I think you have to take a hard look at yourself as a business owner. And I realize the economic implications of this. I don't like it any more than you. Recall from my video a couple of days ago, I've had to shut my entire business down in San Antonio. I don't take it lightly. I know this has an economic impact. I think Kim Bloom is doing a great job communicating to the business community on what options you have as we go through this. Frankly, the country's going through this, so nobody's being isolated out. I would say most businesses are probably non-essential, but you have to make that decision responsibly for yourself today. Here's a question I got this morning a number of times. What the heck is going on at HEB and Walmart? I wanted to know that too. I've been talking with both Matt at HEB and Cindy at Walmart several times this morning. HEB implemented a bunch of changes in all of their stores across the San Antonio area, including Boerne. Some of the changes they put in place were to cause a queuing problem to happen outside the store before they opened, because what they've noticed over the last 3 days are people are coming into the store all at once, shopping for 15 or 20 minutes, and then all going to the registers at once. And it was just creating a large aggregation of people that they recognize is not right. I think HEB is being extremely proactive and extremely thoughtful about what they're implementing. They're not implementing the changes they're doing because of what I did yesterday. They're doing it across all of their stores. In the conversations I had with Matt this morning, he did go a little bit further based on his interpretation of the directive from Boerne. And by 11 o'clock, we had already corrected those changes, and Matt's making changes. He already made those changes by 11 o'clock. We should see some improved flow through the store tomorrow. And I just want to say thank you to Donald for your constructive email to me. I've already replied to you. On the Walmart side, Cindy is doing all the same things. She's trying to ensure that people abide by social distancing. But candidly, here's what's going on. They both have told me that the volume of sales just in the last week is 4 times a normal week. Now, I know Kendall County has not doubled or quadrupled in the last week, but what's going on is people are coming from outside of our community. They're coming from Seguin, they're coming from Kerrville, they're coming from San Antonio. That's where the influx of people are coming from. So this isn't something that's just a phenomena inside Kendall County. I've also been asked, am I going to close the borders? I don't think I have that authority today to close the borders of Boerne, and that's probably not the right answer. In some further conversation with Officer Muth and Sammy inside of HEB, I went there before I came to City Hall today to do this. The Favor program, recall what that is. That's for elders that are over 60. HEB is offering in the morning from 9 to 2. If you call in and make an order, they'll process that. They'll deliver that to you for free, no fees, but they'll ask you to tip the driver $10. That's available to everyone over 60. I think that's a great program they've put in place. I know my in-laws are going to be using that, and I know several people that have already used it and said, HEB is just a true champion inside our community. Thank you, Matt, and all your HEB employees. Can I eat inside of a restaurant if it's open? And the answer to that is no, you cannot. That was the directive by the governor. We reinforced that governor with our directive in Boerne. And I got a report right around noontime from the police chief. They went to every restaurant in the city limits of Boerne, and every restaurant owner is abiding by the new rules. And so I have to give a big shout out to all the restaurant owners. I know this is hard to adjust your operation this quickly, but thank you for abiding by this, because I think you're putting the community's needs first. And I think the community is going to continue to reach out and support you all and take advantage of your takeout services. Are estate sales considered garage sales? Yes. Remember what the whole purpose of that is. We don't want people congregating. And an estate sale is probably going to put a lot of people in a house as opposed to a garage or in a front yard. But folks, I explicitly said that garage sales are disallowed right now, and that applies to estate sales or anything that looks like that. We don't want a bunch of people around each other. And if there's somebody that goes to a number of estate sales, and again, if they are a super infector, meaning they have it and they don't know it, they can be the one that's spreading it in a large community. So garage sales, estate sales are all explicitly prohibited. I've seen questions about testing. Why don't we have more testing? How do I get tested? I'll tell you what I know. The availability of testing kits is still very, very limited from a supply standpoint. The governor is the one of the governor of Texas is the one that's going to be telling us how that's being distributed, because he is controlling that from a supply chain management. The testing that is available in San Antonio is still limited to first responders and folks that have demonstrated all of the symptoms and are getting a note from their doctor. So, are there still enough tests even for just that population? And the answer is, I don't think so yet, but there's supposed to be more coming, and I think we need to pay attention to the governor's messages. I've been asked, is testing going to come to Kendall County anytime soon? And the answer is not anytime soon, because there hasn't been a demonstrated need. We've had our 2 cases here. Again, they were both travel related. San Antonio is a bigger population. I hope we don't need one of those testing kits or testing places in Kendall County. So if you've got the symptoms, the most important thing we all need to do is stay home. Do not risk other people. Do not create a community spread of this disease. Of this virus. That's the reason we're doing all the things we are right now. Okay, that's the big questions that I saw. I can't sit and watch Facebook all day long, I assure you that, but I'm trying to respond to the things that I do see. I did have one question this morning about elderly needs, things like Meals on Wheels or some of the other programs that deliver meals to others. With the HEB problem of this morning, they weren't able to get the supplies that they needed to produce the meals they needed to get out to the seniors. I talked with Captain Perez this morning, and he has assigned a full-time person to be the point person for coordinating issues with our retirement and assisted living facilities and our elderly needs. And that person is our Fire Marshal, Robert Lee. We'll be putting more information and contact information for Robert out probably tomorrow. And I'm just glad that we're being very proactive and saying we're going to have somebody dedicated to looking at the needs of that part of our community. I can tell you right now that this is a week I never, ever, ever wanted to go through. What I had to do in my personal business in San Antonio, what I've had to do here, has not been the funnest week of my life. But we're dealing with it. As a community, I'm dealing with it. I'm looking forward to getting sleep one of these days. But I can tell you that I am very, very thankful to 2 guys in particular, and that is Jeff Fink, the Emergency Operations Coordinator for the county, and Captain Steve Perez. He's our lead person from the city on the emergency operations exercise that we're going through right now. Those guys are living this 24/7, and they are doing an outstanding job. I think we're doing a great job in the city of communicating with you all. I'm living up to the promise. I would be very frequent and very open about the communications. I know I'm going to make a couple mistakes. I'm going to ask for a little grace on your part. I will correct those as soon as I can. One other person I want to thank is Kim Bloom in the Chamber of Commerce. She's doing a wonderful job communicating with all of the retailers, the business folks in this community. She's being very proactive. She's being very aggressive, and she's trying to help them every way she can. I also want to thank the guy right behind that camera, Mr. Chris Shadrock. He's our part of our communication staff, and he is the one that helps put these videos together, and I think video is a little bit better for communication, and he makes it easy, and I'm deeply appreciative for him making this a major vehicle for how we're communicating in the community. I think the city and the county staff are working very well together, and from my perspective, everything I heard at HEB and Walmart this morning, I appreciate the way the citizens are reacting to this. It's a first in every one of our lives, and I think we have to continue leaning on each other as a community, and we will get through this. I'm confident we're going to get through this. I have one last request of everybody. This is my primary way of communicating. We don't have a TV channel in Bernie. I don't have everybody's personal email address, but some of you might, and not everybody's on Facebook. We're putting this on Facebook, we're putting this on YouTube, we're communicating. I appreciate the rapid spread of this on Facebook. Yesterday we reached over 16,000 people. If that's 2 to 3 people per household, maybe we are reaching half to 2/3 of this community quickly, but there's 1/3 to 1/2 that we're not reaching. And I'm gonna ask you all, reach out to your homeowners association, reach out to whatever club you're in, email the people that you think are not on Facebook, send them a link to this so they know what's going on. I'll be doing this every day. And let's get this actually does call people, and we can call our neighbors that we know are not on Facebook. I know my in-laws are not on Facebook, and we've done a little group inside their home owners association, and they're getting emails when these go out. I'm just asking you all to please help get the message out for what's going on locally. I know you're paying attention to the news channels for what's going on at the state and national levels, but right now I can tell you here in Bernie and Kendall County, we're ahead of the curve, and I'll continue updating you all with everything that I can tell you. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.